I make $130,000 a year as a software engineer in North Jersey. And I know some of you are thinking, dude, you're set. But truthfully, it doesn't feel like it. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment with my wife and 2 dogs, and we're kind of stuck here. Because we can't afford to buy a home for more space, we're priced out of 2-bedroom apartments in the area. So if you feel like you're doing everything right, the degree, the prestigious job, the work ethic, but the math still isn't mathing, you're not crazy. I talked to a lot of friends about this, and they all come from different income backgrounds. But everyone's like, wait, why does this feel impossible? If there's one thing I want you to take away from the video, it's this. First step of self-improvement is being honest with yourself. Not I'm grateful honest, like real honest. Because you can be fake with friends, coworkers, hell, even your family. But if you're fake with yourself, you'll never be happy. And that lie leaks into everything. I keep coming back to it. It's not discipline. It's not motivation. It's honesty. So here it is. When I graduated in 2016, I thought I wanted to work in a prestigious company because that would mean I would get great pay, a respectable reputation from my family and peers, and this would also set me up for a career where I can leverage my experiences to join a more prestigious company with more money. I mean, yes, can you tell that I'm a son of a first-generation Asian immigrant family? But you know what? After all the grinding that I did through school, after graduation, interview prepping, networking, and landing my first job at a fintech company, I thought I made it. In truth, it was really just brainwashing myself into thinking this is what I wanted, when in fact it was really achieving what was deemed success by my peers. I was in fact miserable. Working in a fast-paced company really isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Sure, the New York City Manhattan skyscraper office is awe-inspiring at first. The corporate HR fist-pumping of, you made it, this is an incredible opportunity, this is family, BS talk. It boosts your ego for a few minutes. But I had to literally trade away my happiness because I hated being micromanaged, being reprimanded for being 5 minutes late, even though I had to commute from New Jersey to New York City. And I hated how I had to put up with some kind of corporate act to fit in. For the viewers who don't work corporate or on the hunt for a first corporate job, let me describe this act to you. You aren't allowed to truly express how you feel, ever. You had a terrible weekend when your dog passed away and your car tire blew off? Doesn't matter. You smile and you say, yeah, my weekend was great. How was yours? You have to agonizingly make small talk that clearly both parties don't give a shit about, but you have to for the sake of corporate image. In my instance, it was even deeper than that. I'm an Asian male in a sales department that is full of quote unquote finance bros. And it's not quite easy to fit in because I can't relate to a lot of their outlooks in life. Here I am trying to save up money and prepare for retirement early, and my coworkers just want to talk about their next trip to the Hamptons and getting fucked up at a beach house. I had no room or space to fit into this mold. I realized I don't want to do this until I'm 65. I was 25 at this time, but I wasn't fully honest with myself. All I did was pivot to software engineering. So I lied to myself again. I thought by changing to a more cushy job where I could get paid to work at my desk, where I wouldn't have to deal with political BS, and just do my tasks comfortably while making a decent salary, I would be happy again. This did actually help, but honestly, it's still a diversion from the real true problem because I wasn't fully honest with myself. I didn't start my actual journey until literally now. You could probably be sitting there and thinking, this guy is just ungrateful. But let me do a quick audit of a 23-year-old in North Jersey, because this is the part that people don't want to talk about because it ruins that illusion of an American dream. As I said before, I make $130,000 salary, but let's look at the actual math in 2026. After federal taxes, New Jersey taxes, health insurance, the $130K turns into roughly around $7,500 a month in take-home pay. I'm looking at the world around me, a decent 1-bedroom apartment in the safe area of North Jersey, looking around $2,500 to $3,000 easy. That's around 40% of my paycheck gone before I could even buy anything. And then I don't even want to think about the next steps, right? Buying a home. A modest 3-bedroom starter home in decent New Jersey district is now $600,000 to $700,000. And most of these houses are built prior to World War II. That's insanely old. So if I theoretically wanted to buy a home, with the current interest rates, the mortgage, the taxes, and insurance, it'll be around $5,000 a month. On a $130K salary, that's not tight. It's just pretty much mathematically impossible. I'll be one car repair or one vet bill away from just getting destroyed. This is why I say being honest with yourself is the key ingredient. If I kept lying to myself, I'd keep chasing a 10K raise, thinking that would be the fix. The math shows me that a 10K raise is just a band-aid on a gunshot wound. The system isn't designed for us to get ahead anymore. It's designed to just keep us comfortable enough to keep clicking accept on the next corporate contract. But honesty isn't the finish line. It's just the beginning. Admitting it is one thing, but what you have to do next is the hard part. I created this channel because I want to give real steps that have worked for me, and I hope it can do the same for you. Step 1 is simple, but it's also brutal. You have to take a look in the mirror and see your life like it belongs to someone else. Kind of like you're watching a scene in a movie. This step is only hard if you don't want to accept what you see. I completely get it, because the truth is not always pretty, but the longer you run from it, the more expensive it gets. What is making you unhappy? Don't start with the why, start with the what. What feels heavy right now? This helps you stop negotiating with your ego, and instead, you get to look at the objective data. Is it your friend group that you always leave feeling smaller, but you can't cut off because you're afraid of being alone? Maybe you want to be more social, but you're afraid of rejection and opening up. In my case, I realized that if I don't find a creative way to make more money, I'm going to stay handcuffed to a job I don't even want just to survive. Once you name what's heavy, your brain is going to do this thing where it immediately starts building a legal defense for why you have to stay. Let me know if this is something that resonates with you. You'll go on saying, but I spent 4 years on this degree, but I grinded 6 years at this company, but I already moved here. That's not logic. That's the sunk cost fallacy. And you're basically saying, because I already paid, I need to keep paying. So here's the brutal part about being honest. The time is already gone and it's not coming back. The money's already spent, and that version of you already made those choices with the info that they had at that time. So you don't have to hate your past self. You don't have to call it a waste either. You can just tell the truth. That chapter in my life taught me what I needed to know, and now I'm done. A lot of people stay stuck because they're trying to protect a past decision instead of protecting their future. Now that you stopped lying about step 1 and stopped bargaining in step 2, you can finally do something useful, which is measuring the gap. Because right now, most of us say we value one thing, and then we live like we value the exact opposite. So here's what I mean. On one side, write your real values. Not like the LinkedIn values, but I mean the real ones. So for me, it's freedom, ownership, and peace. And now on the other side, you look at your calendar for the rest of the week. If you say you value freedom, but your entire week is basically ask permission, wait for feedback, do it again, get micromanaged, and repeat, the gap explains the misery. It's not because you're weak or ungrateful, it's because you're living out of alignment. And no, the answer is not quit your job tomorrow and manifest. That's how you end up broke and panicking. The real move is actually smaller, but it's what actually changes your life. Start with one thing where the gap is 0. One project, one skill, one income stream, one routine. That's why I started this channel, not because I think YouTube is guaranteed. I'm not that delusional. I just know that if I don't build anything that's mine, I'm going to spend my whole life negotiating for scraps. When your values and your actions match, even a little, you stop feeling crazy. You stop feeling trapped, and that's when the plan finally sticks. Speaking of scraps, let's talk about retirement real quick. You know what's crazy? There are proposals to raise the US Social Security full retirement age to above 67, with even options to push it to 70. No, I'm not even joking. The excuse is that we're living longer. But what it feels like is this. The system is running out of money, and the people writing the rules want to make sure they eat first. And what does that leave us with? The scraps. The Social Security trust funds are projected to be depleted by 2034. This isn't to say that you won't receive monthly checks, but rather it will be reduced. All you have to do is look around you to see how incredibly crazy and unsustainable that is. Do you remember what the prices were to get a cup of coffee 10 years ago were? Food? Hell, even something like movie tickets? Inflation is quickly eroding our spending power, while the government is looking into reducing the retirement checks on top of this. So by the time you're ready to retire at 70, you're going to be given pennies to survive on. The only realistic answer I can see would be to heavily tax billionaires. But unfortunately, you only have to look at history to realize that the government actually works for these billionaires. They always find ways to circumvent to hoard their wealth, their power, and their control. So where does that leave us? The rest of us common folk? The people who just want a peaceful, fulfilling life, but don't want to be at the mercy of one paycheck, one manager, one layoff email? This is the conclusion I landed on. You have to build more than one income stream. My wife actually picked up on this way before I did. She works full-time corporate while teaching fitness on the weekends. She's carving her own path, and watching that is inspiring. When companies are reluctant to give raises or even hire, depending on your employer, it starts to feel like gambling. So here I am, executing a plan of creating content with goals of supporting my current income. I'm choosing content creation because I actually enjoy the process and I feel like I have value I can provide to others. I'm building this community so we can figure out the third path together. I'm going to share the math, the failures, and the blueprints I'm finding so you don't have to guess. I'm not expecting YouTube to retire me, but I think it's a dream worth working towards. I am honest to myself about the very low slim chance that it could work out, but all things good and worth doing don't come easy. Unfortunately for me, I'm not an inherently lucky person, so I'm not going to bank on luck. All I can do is be honest with myself, to you guys, and be relentlessly resilient in this pursuit. And that is my very first step, to be completely honest. No bias, no excuses, no deflecting. Just cold, hard, introspective look at myself and what I want from my life. Sure, I had to overcome a lot of doubt, anxiety to even create my first video, but we could talk about this in a different video if you're interested. But for now, take a look at your own truth. When you stop lying to yourself, your decisions get simpler. Not easier, just simpler. Whatever you decide, I hope you choose it on purpose.